Hey guys, it's the Anime Bear, and today we are going to talk about anime that are slowly losing the luster and shine they once had. And with time, these anime will be forgotten and won't be remembered the way they were remembered today. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the list. So, first up, we got Death Note, the one anime that leads to a lot of people into the anime community. Death Note is an anime that mostly everyone has seen once or twice, and it's not really a surprise considering the sheer amount of popularity the anime has gained. Death Note is a story about a guy and a Shinigami who's more so like a devil, and the guy's interaction with the Shinigami, how the Shinigami ends up dropping his Death Note, a specific book within which if you write a person's name, they are dead. The guy is Light Yagami, a high schooler, and he's a genius. That's basically the main premise of Death Note. It's about how Light establishes himself as a god and how he actively kills prisoners, criminals, terrorists, and in the end, he ends up becoming a killer, a monster himself. My personal favorite character in this one anime was L. He is someone who is introduced quite later on in the story. Not that late, like 2-3 episodes. But the main value L held was actually given to him quite later. Now here's the harsh reality. I'm suspecting that in the near future, Death Note will soon be forgotten. The reason? It's because new anime like Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan are slowly starting to replace Death Note. This is something I've noticed quite frequently in new weebs. People who recently got into anime, and they initially got into anime thanks to Death Note, but then they watched Attack on Titan or something other than Attack on Titan, maybe Demon Slayer, something else, and this something else initially became their favorite anime and they soon forgot about Death Note. They remembered that they watched Death Note, but they don't respect Death Note that much. Now, considering the amount of merch we have based on Death Note, I'm pretty sure many of you might think that people won't forget it that easily. Which is sorta true. But the way I see it, I'm pretty sure people will forget about Death Note and they'll just remember the name. So in the near future, this might be possible that Death Note exists, but only in name. It's a strong possibility. Second, we got the Fist of the North Star, the OG anime that grandfathered beasts like JoJo and Dragon Ball. Now, Fist of the North Star is sort of like an exception on our list because this particular anime has already been forgotten. Unlike Death Note and other series I'm going to talk about in this particular video, Fist of the North Star has actually been forgotten by the new generation of weebs. So it's sort of like a jewel to the entire anime community. So Fist of the North Star is a Japanese manga series written by Buroson and illustrated by Tetsuo Hara. It was serialized in Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump magazine and it ran for somewhere around 27 volumes. The manga was extremely popular. The story revolves around Kenshiro, who's the main character of the story, and the manga slash anime is all about his struggles of getting his wife back. His fiance gets captured by his rival Shin, who secretly desired Kenshiro's fiance for a really long time, but knew that Yuria's heart was completely set on Kenshiro. Now, in terms of the setting of the world, it's set in a post-apocalyptic world where nuclear war happened and almost destroyed everything, and whatever remains is just humans with a desperate desire to survive. And Kenshiro is a martial artist amidst all of this, and suddenly now guns, etc., have all lost their value. The old weaponry, tanks, everything is just lost forever. But martial arts still remains. That's the overall setting of Fist of the North Star. So the anime itself is quite old. It first aired in October 1984. But despite that, this OG anime remained amongst us for a really long time. But now it seems that Fist of the North Star is just gone. It isn't remembered anymore. The main character, Kenshiro, was mainly based on Bruce Lee. Just wanted to add that last fact in before we move towards the next anime we are going to talk about here today. Next up, we got Black Butler. Taking place in the British era, the anime is about Cial Phantom Hive and his butler, who's actually a demon. It's a story about Cial, a 12-year-old who gets into a faggy relationship with his butler, who wants nothing but to eat up his young master. Why would Cial make such a deal where he will have to be banished to hell for all of eternity into the belly of an overly butler like Sebastian Michaelis, or whatever they call him in the demon realm? Well, that's cause he wants fucking revenge against the people who killed his family. Now the manga of this particular anime has been successful, but when it comes down to the anime adaptation, it's fairly trashy with tons of anime canon and filler arcs. Out of 2 seasons worth of 50 episodes, there were just 12 to 13 episodes worth of manga content, and maybe that's partly a reason why the anime has been forgotten just like that, despite being so great. After all, no one would really want to remember a badly adapted anime. The good part is that the manga is still ongoing and has seen tremendous increase in sales. Also, there was a season 3 as well as other portions of the manga covered up in form of movies called books, but it became such a messed up situation, so people decided to just forget about it. Next up, we got The Promised Neverland. Okay, so imagine being a 12-year-old with an IQ above 169. Now imagine yourself in an orphanage along with some other children, all of whom are just as gifted as you one way or the other. No, this isn't Death Note. Now create a mental image in your heads for me of a woman dressed as a maid. Give her the face of your mom. Now turn her into a cold-blooded killer. So Promised Neverland is about Emma, Norman and Lay, depending on how you pronounce it. The 3 children who are wondering about their upbringing and the world they live in, doubting every aspect, and I mean every aspect of their being, seeing the rise of a conspiracy within their heads and discussing it with each other. The conspiracy being that they are actually locked up inside a prison, and there's a strong possibility that there's something behind those iron bars of a gate, to whom these children are nothing but fodder. One fine day, this doubt suddenly becomes a reality when Norman and Emma run off to the gate just to see the corpse of their beloved foster sister Connie and the 2 huge demons with the sole desire to gobble them all up. Nope, this isn't a Disney's movie either. Seeing the facet of reality, the 2 along with Ray decide to save themselves and all their foster family from the clutches of their so-called mama, the demons of this world, and everything that threatens them. Well, with a premise like that, one might wonder why this anime will be really forgotten. I mean, just look at the art, the animation, the music is just. And they're wondering rightfully so. After all, it should scar away everyone who decides to watch even a single episode of it. Now, here comes the sad reality. The first season of the anime was lit. The second season, not so much. The studio behind the anime, Cloverworks, decided to do their own thing in the season 2. Instead of following the source material like they had done in season 1. And they created this catastrophe of an anime adaptation to such a beautiful manga called The Promised Neverland. Thanks to this, now many people who are trying to get into the series now will have to deal with not only an incomplete story but also with a disaster of a season 2, and so they will wipe off the memory clean off their hard drives of the amazing season 1. Well, that's the gist of why, according to me, The Promised Neverland's manga will be forgotten with due time. And lastly on our list, we are gonna talk about Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho is a 90s anime created by the same person who created Hunter x Hunter, Yoshihiro Tagashi. The story revolves around Yusuke Uramashi, a full-time delinquent, part-time bully, and a no-time student. He is everything you won't want your kids to be. He had quite an upbringing, having a caring yet absent father and a wise yet 24/7 drunk mother. He really had an odd life until one day he did not, majorly because of him ending up getting himself killed in a car accident, saving a 5-year-old in the process. After death, he is immediately confronted with Botan, his Shinigami guide, who then takes him to Quenma, the son of King Yema, who happens to tell him his death was a waste and an anomaly, as he wasn't supposed to die and that the kid was going to survive regardless of his intervention. After being turned into a ghost, Yusuke is forced to go through a trial which gets him back into his body and at the same time gives him supernatural abilities, which he then uses to defeat demons and evil spirits. That's the introduction to the Yu Yu Hakusho, a popular yet forgotten anime from 90s. Just like Fist of the North Star, Yu Yu Hakusho became a major inspiration for most modern shonen, including a certain character design from Bleach and even Naruto. Yet at the same time, the series isn't remembered the way it was remembered back in the day. The biggest reason to this being the new weebs not picking the series like this up due to the art, music and animation mostly being outdated. That's one of the major reasons why the anime you enjoy now will eventually become forgotten and unremembered. Eventually, even if its name is still present in the community along with all the merchandise and games. All of this will fade away into a dark pit with only their names remembered by people who saw the shows in the long distance past. So according to me, these are some of the most iconic anime that are slowly being forgotten and with time might cease to exist within the anime community. Hope you enjoyed the video. Also let me know if there are more stories you would like me to talk about. What is your take on all this? What do you think about Fist of the North Star? What about Death Note and its gradual decline in popularity due to the rise of other world movers like AOT and Demon Slayer? What do you think of any of the other series we talked about in this video? Tell me about them in the comment sections below. If you really enjoyed the video, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell, and I'll talk to you all in the next video. Also don't forget to click on that like button. I'll greatly appreciate it. As always, it's the Anime Bear. Hope you all had a fun time and peace.